Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Christian Paul speaking. Alright? This following episode here contains graphic content that may not be suitable for definitely children and some other viewers involved, which could involve graphic language, visual graphic content, and or both. Viewer discretion is advised.
What my $200,000 lawyer salary actually looked like. I know that seems like a crazy amount to be making my first year as a lawyer. Maybe you'd think that's $16K a month in the bank, but actually I was only left with about $1,500 each month. Here's how. I put $5,400 pre-tax that year towards my 401k, and then after taxes, $132,000 hit the bank. So that's around $11,000 a month. Then I had to make my minimum student loan payment of $3,323. Plus, since I took out over $200,000 of student loans to go to law school, I didn't want that interest to pile on, so I made an additional $6,000 payment each month. Rent was covered by the law firm since I picked an office outside of the US where that was a benefit, and that left me with around $1,500 for utilities, medical copays, food, transportation, and savings. Let's normalize talking about money. Follow for my best money tips.
Juicy! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Proud Lane, certified beta male sit man, Johnny, whatever, there's no game. The socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul, is up in the building. And we are dealing with another episode of Bridge Talk, live, coming straight from Houston Hole, New York City, Queens. Live first off the Queensboro Bridge. You see the view right there, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, you have no idea how this whole thing is really gonna play out by itself. Beautiful view, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I want to discuss on Bridge Talk is, basis of red pill, the manosphere, and even some Kevin Samuels viewers have a theory, in order for you to be high value, you gotta make about $100K a year, over $100,000 a year, for about 5-6 years. Yet I find out up in a recent survey that's coming out from NBC News is that about 40% of high value earners, according to the red pill definition and Kevin Samuels definition, right, over $100K a year, right, high value, right, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're literally one paycheck away from being homeless by the way they're spending, they're actually dealing with, and literally the whole 9 yards, which is insane. And I tell y'all, ever since the pandemic has literally subsided, right? And everyone's gone back to work, and everything's just literally springing itself all the way back up. You see the view, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful view of the Queensboro Bridge. Once again, wonderful view that you see right here. Boom. Right? As everyone started coming back to work, you're seeing layoffs occurred within the first couple months within last year. Actually, the last couple months of the last year, and actually the first couple months of this year. You're seeing a bunch of layoffs go on. People not knowing what the fuck to do. People literally starting to put their food up on the table, and they got $100,000. Everything literally rising up down by portions when it comes to food, when it comes to gas. And gas has been drastically rising ever since last year, right? Never mind, you got all these buying expenses. Never mind, you got heating costs. Never mind, you got ticket costs that you got to deal with. Where literally prices are literally skyrocketing all over the place. Car prices are literally gonna be on insane. People chilling up in Roosevelt Island, by the way. Y'all see the view. Y'all see it. What else? Basically what I was trying to say. People are actually trying to make ends meet by trying to combat those prices. But even if you're trying to cap some of those things down with all these politician promises and everything, yeah, you got an expanding population. You got growing interest rates, actually people putting money out since the stimulus checks came out in order to continue to keep spending going in order to actually stimulate the economy. all for the U.S. government to print more money, which would cause like a lot of drastic inflation, which was a huge risk. And that if they had they not actually done all the similar stuff, the whole economy may have been worse off. Who knows? But it has caused a ripple effect all throughout American society, and not just American society, but throughout the Western nations and eventually the whole world. All right? Due to the fact that everything up here is getting much more expensive. Obviously, the rich getting richer when it comes to the West. And as you see with like all the other second, third class, projected countries or developing nations, they having their issues as well when it comes to actually buying things, getting jobs, getting some money on their plate, actually getting like some basic needs of living, so that they themselves and family can mainly thrive. They struggling with that as well. And then with all these other corruptions that's been going on with all these other countries and everything, it's like a sad sight to see, right? But my theory is this: that new high value threshold is no longer going to be 100,000 a year. Don't be surprised if the new high value threshold is going to be 250,000 a year, maybe 300K, maybe 400K, or even $500,000 yearly, right? And you're seeing the wealth gap widening. And literally less than about 20% of people nationwide make about $100,000 a year. So imagine when you see inflation rise, and they continue to rise literally up in the years ahead, where things start to become less affordable. Can you imagine like a very small field that's actually going to be able to afford everything now? And I got literally a project coming, okay? When he talks about food that happened and the cost of prices skyrocketing, how they're affected pre-COVID, post-COVID, I got something coming up in the tank for y'all. I just actually downloaded that stuff literally like a while ago. I'm actually working on the data set now and actually just playing around with some numbers as well as some visualizations to see the activity of how much the food has actually, how much the price has actually skyrocketed based on certain needs, based on certain countries, where they have their stuff located, really holding their 9 yards. I just need like a bit more time to really play with it, that's all. But the high value lifestyle, right, where a lot of people start to attain, and folks claim that everyone can actually reach it. But the thing is, what people fail to realize is that average always moves. And also remember that it's economically impossible for people to actually reach that top tier high value status, because it's not, unfortunately, not going to be that much enough money on the table for everyone to literally trying to counter, everyone to literally collect, which is literally a shame. A sin and a shame, and it's just literally depressing. So don't be surprised if you see $500,000 become the new high value status within 5-10 years, or maybe even $1 million within the next 10-20 years. $1 million a year minimum of earnings, right? When it comes to wealth, not just when it comes with income, but when you're talking about $1 million a year when it comes to income plus wealth, like income, net worth, the whole 9 yards, income plus investments, whole net worth, whole wealth. You know what I'm saying? That high value income stuff, that job that you get, where you laid off, that's like about 100K a year, or even 400, 500K a year. They can literally snatch up for you when your ass gets laid off, or at least expecting you back to square one. This economy is no joke. It is unforgiving. Businesses are cutting. Businesses are cutthroat. All these top tier corporations literally trying to stay their own ass, really cover for their mistakes. And unfortunately, the workers actually bled their life for their company. They actually earned real great paychecks with that company. Sadly, they currently have to suffer, and which is a sin and a shame, But I tell y'all, average is moving. The high value ordeal, the high value coattail, the high value lifestyle and requirements, they're moving, they're rising. And I would not be surprised if you see all these rhetorics come by and nearly change for the next 5 years. So with that, Christian Paul here is going to continue his exercise and get his legs moving to prep up for some iron pumping, probably within the days ahead with the legs. All right? See y'all soon. Deuces, deuces, deuces.
50% of millennials who make 100 grand or more are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't feel
bad for them.
They want to have a Rolex. They want to drive a nice car. I get it.
Precisely.
But it's called lifestyle creep. The more money you make, the more you feel like, well, I deserve to have a nicer car. I'm working hard. I deserve to move into a nicer area. I deserve to go on vacation to Mykonos this summer. All my friends are going to Ibiza. You know, so
but is that the real
make the right decisions?
My
is what I'm
question
saying.
do you see